It's Wednesday night, the 4th of February, and it is cold and about to get a lot colder as we go to the weekend. And that colder air, before it arrives, will have some snow ahead of it, making it a little prettier, I guess, if that's the best way to describe it. But no matter. We're going to talk all about this and a few other things on the agenda tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can shop on Amazon using our referral link that's on the description to this podcast to support us. And why would you want to support us? Well, the live portion of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast is commercial free. So the more you shop on Amazon using our referral link, the longer we stay commercial free. And you just go in and buy whatever it is you were going to buy. The link just gets you there. Amazon throws us some coin for sending you over there, and everybody's happy. So we appreciate it. Doesn't cost you 1 extra cent out of your own pocket. And we appreciate very much those of you who have used the referral link on Amazon. And if you're still looking for a weather station, look no further than Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system, and you join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the chat board tonight, pinned at the top. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. And we strongly recommend that you use the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast coupon code, Joe Rayo,
which is winter 2026. And use that coupon code, and you can get 10% off anything that you may want to purchase from our good friends at Tempest. Da-da.
Ta-da. So before anybody says anything, I would just like to point out that I know it looks like I've been wearing the same shirt every night for the last 3 nights. However, this shirt, I have actually 3 of them, okay, of this. So this is the third of the 3 that I'm wearing. It's just that
Okay.
the thing is they're very heavy duty and they really keep you warm. So
And
I
you
find,
get that and you got that from Mr. Lumberjack.
well, I got it from somebody as a gift. I got them from 3 somebodies for 3 different gifts.
Okay.
So I just opened this one today because it was in a package that I hadn't, it's been sitting in my drawer for about a year. So I figured, you know what? Let me switch shirts. And actually, like I said, very comfortable. These things are, I wish I knew about these shirts when I was younger because these are really nice to wear. I'm definitely a flannel guy.
I
I,
believe it. I
yeah.
believe. Well, and this is certainly flannel. If this wasn't flannel weather that we've had the last couple of weeks, I don't know what you could call it, but actually we had another day today, Joe, where the temperature locally here at the home base, I think, got to above freezing for a few seconds, 33. And tomorrow we may just do the same thing again. Don't think we're going to do it on Friday. I think we're going to have a lot of cloud cover on Friday ahead of the next. Yes, folks, they're calling it an Arctic front. Maybe we should call it a polar front that's going to move through. That's going to bring us everything from a sharp drop in temperatures again to gusty, strong, blustery winds on Saturday. And looks like it's going to be a cold Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, I mean, Arctic or polar, you're pretty much saying the same thing.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, if you're saying Arctic, I guess that would take you down to about 66 and a half degrees latitude. But a polar front, I would suppose, is be literally like right over where the North Pole is, like,
Oh, I
way up
see
at like
what you're saying.
latitude,
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. I mean, I
like
suppose,
80
but
or 80,
actually,
85-degree latitude.
we usually refer to that in reverse when we talk about polar fronts are from Canada and the Arctic fronts are the ones with the bitter cold air. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, something
I'm
like that.
yeah, I'm totally with you on this. So uh, we're going to get some snow ahead of this Friday night into Saturday morning. And it's sort of a strange situation because you've got the Arctic front pushing eastward. There's a strong upper trough that's involved with it. And you also have a coastal low that's going to be really too far out to cause any issues. But when the way it's structured in the atmosphere, and you see it when we put the map up, it almost looks like the 2 systems are hooked up together. And I couldn't help but think yesterday about and today about the fact that the trough axis is right along the coast. Had the trough axis been along 80, we'd be talking about a big snowstorm for Friday night into Saturday morning, with bitter cold air coming in on the backside. Probably much like what happened back in, when was it, in 2022? Was that in January of 2022 when we had the snowstorm and the temperatures fell and you were shoveling snow with the temperatures in
Oh
the
yes,
single digits? You remember?
I
Yeah,
oh how can I forget? Yeah, I
yeah,
remember it was 9 degrees when I was out shoveling. Yeah,
yeah.
it was a Saturday.
That's
It was a Saturday.
yeah. That's not going to happen this time
Well,
because
thank
everything
you.
is too far east.
Yeah.
But I still think that we're going to wind up with an area-wide coating to an inch or so, and maybe somebody in a couple of isolated locations might be able to push it up to an inch and a half or an inch and three quarters. Wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me either, especially this winter. There are some winters where you no matter how hard you try, you can't get a single snowflake to stick. And then there are other winters, and this is one of those where at the slightest little chance of snow, it happens. And
Yeah,
and I absolutely agree with you. It's going to get cold again. Hey, look, the ground is so cold now. Again, every little flake is going to stick, whatever falls from the sky, and probably you can get through Friday daytime without any snow worries. But I think sometime between 7 and 10 or 8 and 11 o'clock on Friday evening, it's going to start to flake. We're going to start getting snow showers here, and just before the front arrives around daybreak on Saturday, we may very well see a line of heavier snow shower activity, maybe even a few snow squalls. I'm not sure about that, but in any case, when you wake up on Saturday and look out the window, you're going to see your blacktop is gone and replaced by either a coating to maybe as much as you just said, Joe, maybe an inch of the white stuff.
yeah. Um, Almost all the guidance shows at least a coating, and a, a lot of the guidance shows anywhere of air from a half inch to an inch and a half. In fact, I'm going to just put up the 18Z European snow map here. And we're kind of at the point where these things do actually become useful. When you're inside um, 84, 72 hours like we are now, plus the fact that um, actually we're 48 hours from when it would start, so we're even closer. Um, but this is what the European has, and I mean it's basically a coating to an inch, inch and a half. They actually have some 2 inch amounts over Long Island because they're trying to show some of that coastal moisture getting drawn back by the upper trough. I did not make a map because I don't make maps for a coating to an inch or so. This is sort of an area wide blanket forecast. And the Weather Service forecast amounts a lot of ones and a few twos in eastern Long Island and southeastern New England. I honestly think that unless we get a shocking surprise, that this is about the limit of it.
Yeah, it does not look like a major snowfall. It looks like a very puffy, powdery type of snow, considering how cold it's been and how cold it's going to get. You may not even need your shovel. Just if you have a leaf blower, you could probably get rid of it that way if you're lazy, like I am. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, and another round of snow as we move into the upcoming. In fact, I'm thinking about it. I think it's going to be the third consecutive weekend that we've had some kind of snow to deal with. Of course, we had that big snowfall that hit us not last weekend, but the weekend before. With in some cases, yours truly, for example, getting 14. We're not going to get 14 inches out of this, but it's still going to be enough to be a nuisance, I think.
So these are the Saturday. Now Saturday's going to be one of those days when they look at the numbers, where the high of the day is probably going to come just after midnight. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
or at least early in the day, if for some crazy reason this this Arctic or polar front slows up a little bit. But what you're absolutely right. The early part of the day will be when we're going to get the high temperature, and then once we see the front move by and the upper level winds kind of teleconnect with the low level winds and get in that straight north or north northwest flow, you're going to see those temperatures tumble. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if on Saturday afternoon we saw many spots struggling to stay above 10 out there.
Well, I agree with you, definitely. So the numbers that I just had on there, were basically the daytime high. So the daytime high will probably be at 7 a.m. And yeah, by 4 p.m., temperatures are actually in the low and middle teens near the coast and low teens to single digits inland. That's by 4 p.m. And then as I'll move it over to 7 p.m. Then we start getting more and more places into the single digits. The coast still kind of hanging on in the low teens. And then we wake up Sunday morning. Uh, I'll bring you the minimum temperatures here for Sunday. They are going to be in the low and middle single digits, and that would be the warmest urban areas. But you won't have to go far north and northwest and northeast to find below zero readings. Northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, up in Connecticut. You start to get into double digit below zeros as you work your way up through New England and through upstate New York, uh, even some minus 20s up there. So we're talking some very cold air. And in the other direction, the single digits are going to get down to the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, also in the northern parts of Virginia. And further south, we're looking at teens making their way all the way down into North Carolina. This is not going to be an air mass, by the way, that's going to go all the way down to Florida like the last one did. It'll be keeping things cooler than average temperature wise in the areas in the southeast and down in Florida, but it's not going to. Bitter cold air is really going to be concentrated across the northern mid Atlantic and then on up into New England. And Sunday night into Monday morning could be another cold one too, although it's a touch warmer. We're looking at maybe upper single digits to around 10 at the coast and zero or below inland. But I noticed that, by the way, that the big deal is going to be the wind because it's going to be fierce and we're going to be dealing with some wicked wind chills.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing winds on Saturday gusting past 40 miles, maybe even 50 miles an hour, especially along coastal sections. And you're absolutely right, Joe, with the way the temperatures will be dropping. Those wind chills are going to be wicked wind chills. I could see. Well, I'm totally befuddled now as to the advisories that the Weather Service has put out. Cold weather advisories. Uh, will they put out a wind chill advisory? They might. I don't know what the criteria is.
Okay, so
All I can,
we're going to have this is my prediction. We'll have a cold weather advisory, which is the Weather Service's way of advising you that you could never have enough hats, gloves, and shoes.
right.
Okay. As anybody who has any fashion sense knows that that is a rule. You can never, when it comes to accessorization, you can never have enough hats, gloves, and shoes.
And,
Um,
and and the other thing is that the Weather Service on there, and mostly all the weather services now have basically the same type of web page or a home page. And when you look on the forecast, you'll see, let's say it's going to be clear, you'll see a picture of the moon or
right,
partly cloudy, you'll see a cloud or something like that. So for Saturday, what I would suggest is to the Weather Service is they put up a picture of Randy. And if you don't know who Randy is Gene Shepard's little brother in the TV movie A Christmas Story. And you may remember in the Christmas Story the part where Randy's mother dresses him up to such a degree that he can't move his arms. And
right.
he has trouble moving around. That's how many layers he has. And you may need that, just like Randy's going to need it on Saturday, just to stay warm. It's Saturday afternoon and into Saturday night.
I brought up this snow map further south because in the central Appalachians in southwest Pennsylvania down through West Virginia, we actually have it's happened multiple times this winter. Uh, Winter storm watches up for a handful of counties right along the spine of the Appalachians going down through much of West Virginia. But you're talking about this is mountainous terrain here. There's a lot of ski resorts here too, so they'll certainly benefit. And there'll be some snows around the lakes, but nothing crazy. Mostly on the order of about 4 to 6 inches there. But here we go. This is the whole snow map for the Northeast. We, other than the winter storm watches that are up, and we have winter weather advisories up for tonight in central and eastern North Carolina for freezing rain, believe it or not. But other than that, uh, very, very quiet across much of the country. Really, not much happening at all. And checking out the surface map tonight, weak high pressure that extends back into Iowa. There's another frontal boundary that's up to the north that's kind of dropping southward. We have a low in northeast Georgia late this afternoon, and I've actually gotten out of the precipitation with that. All my snow is absolutely gone because we got up to 50 last night and we had some fog and rain, and the snow went bye bye. It's you go outside and thank God I took pictures of it because it took 2 days, and it's gone. But the Northeast is pretty quiet tonight, as is the Northern Mid Atlantic, with temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s as of 4 p.m. It's probably a little bit lower now. And as we check out the GO satellite loop, you can see this wave of low pressure is going to be exiting out to the east. The clouds are not moving northward. However, you can start to see the leading edge of the energy with the Arctic front, with clouds pouring into Minnesota from the north. And that's the upper trough that's going to be swinging around. Yeah, it's amazing this winter. One of the signatures, Joe, has been the fact that we've had these southern systems go by, and then we get these northern short waves, and they never phase. All they do is kick these systems out to the east, and with a couple of exceptions, clearly, but that has been the general way things have happened, and it's playing out the same way this weekend because it's going to be a coastal low that's going to develop, but the trough is in the wrong place.
January 29th, 2022. That's what you alluded to a few minutes ago.
Yes,
Saturday, January 29th, 2022. That's when I had 4 inches. Parts of Long Island had a foot and a half of snow. And at the
Islip
same
said
time,
there. Islip had 24.
yeah, yeah. And that was when
I know. I was there.
we had bitter cold weather accompanying that snowfall. So that was, and that's an example of what you just said isn't really happening so much this year, where you have these two systems and they don't seem to want to phase, or when they do phase, they phase too far out over the ocean.
Right.
But that year, that day, January 29, 2022, they did phase. The storm actually went through the 40/70 benchmark, and that's why the tri state area ended up with a very significant snowfall combined with very, very cold temperatures.
There's some
I can't believe
rain.
that was 2 years ago.
I know. It goes fast, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody, I think it was Burner Lady, mentioned to me that on her feed, on her YouTube feed, the Blizzard of '96 video of me broadcasting popped up.
Yeah, that's been. I noticed that the other night
Why?
on YouTube. I don't know. It just popped up.
I don't understand. I mean, I know I'm a movie star. I get that. But yeah, I mean, that's just really weird how that happens. And that's another thing that's been happening on Ragebook is I've noticed over the last week or so, I keep seeing posts from a week ago, 2 weeks ago, weather posts from a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. Um, talking about, and of course, people, when you look at your Facebook and you see something and it just doesn't seem right, check the date of the post, okay? Because that's your giveaway that there's a problem, right? Because a lot of people won't check the date, and they actually, I'll post them my forecast from before we had the winter storm a few weeks ago, popped up on somebody's feed, and I got a message from them saying that is this for real? Is this really for tonight and tomorrow? I said, no, it was from 2 weeks ago. Check the date. But anyway, we got rain and some pockets of freezing rain, well, well away from the coast of North Carolina as temperatures chill there. And this is snow that's in southeastern Kentucky and in eastern Tennessee that's pivoting around. It may just glance me out tonight as that area goes by. And otherwise, the radars across the rest of the country are pretty quiet. You can also start to see some snow moving north to south into northern Minnesota. That's part of that whole upper trough uh, mess that's going to bring in the very cold Arctic air. And WPC, so this takes us through next Wednesday night. We're talking about a tenth of an inch of liquid or less from Maine to interior North Carolina. A little bit of bonus action up to a quarter of an inch in eastern North Carolina and parts of Florida, and also around the Great Lakes, some areas of a tenth to a quarter of an inch. So really very quiet from the standpoint of precipitation. Nothing major here. A little bit more active in the Pacific Northwest, where it's been relatively quiet. Uh, Getting into some bigger rains in Washington and Oregon. So um, there's no real change in this overall outlook that we've been talking about for the last several days. Uh, the low off in the Carolinas that goes away. Decent day tomorrow. Some slightly colder air is actually coming in, being drawn southward by that low, and then here comes the trough and the isobars. Okay, you can see a lot of isobars there in the western lakes, and actually going all the way down into the southeast. Trough swings eastward. There's probably a low sitting over Lake Ontario there, and then it moves that low kind of weakens as it moves eastward, and then you start to see a coastal low, but it pops up way out at like 36 and 70 roughly. But the trough itself, as it swings through, has this north-south area of snow, and this is early Saturday morning. One thing that's happened is that the Arctic front has actually slowed down a little bit. So there's it's from what it was a couple of days ago, but here
Right.
it is, kind of swings through, and then we blow away Saturday afternoon into Sunday morning, and then after that, the winds should kind of relax a little bit as we go through the day on Sunday. But it's just going to be bitter cold for at least 24 hours of this is going to be torture with the wind.
And it's gonna be like you flicked a switch on Saturday morning. If you get really early on Saturday morning, say around 5, 6, 7 a.m., you look out the window and you say, "Oh well, there's a little bit of snow out there, yeah." But they said it was going to get windy. It doesn't look windy. It doesn't sound windy at all. And all of a sudden, it's going to be almost instantaneous. Boom! The wind machine is going to. It's like somebody flicked the wind machine on, and the winds are going to start roaring. And that's when that first push of that tight pressure gradient begins moving in and over you. That's when you're going to start seeing the winds really crank up, and not a gradual crank up, mind you. I mean, you might go from northerly winds, or actually, you'll probably go from light southwest winds, and all of a sudden, it'll just go boom, north northwest, 25 sustained 40 mile per hour gusts. It's going to happen, literally like a snap of your fingers, and that's what's going to happen on Saturday morning. You'll know it when it arrives. I assure
Yeah.
you. If you don't see it by the way the trees outside your window are wavering back and forth, you'll hear it probably as the winds. All of a sudden, whoa! It'll be like that scene in It's a Wonderful Life when the angel tells Jimmy Stewart, "You got your wish. You've never been born." And all of a sudden, if you are a fan of that movie like I am, suddenly the winds start to roar, and Clarence the angel yells out the window, "Well, you don't have to be that hard about it." That's what
Right.
it's going to be like on Saturday morning, Joe.
Well, and actually, when that starts to happen, it'll probably be snowing. Uh, the
Yeah.
GFS actually has it snowing on Long Island and southern New England into early afternoon before it goes out. So
Yeah.
it comes in a little later, after like new midnight or 1 a.m., and then it's probably done around 1 p.m. or so, and then gone. And there we go. The core of the cold air moves out. There's a bit of a warm front that sets up Sunday night and Monday to our south, and there's a little energy moving southeast from Canada. Uh, so we may get might see some snow showers around on Monday, and then Tuesday the warm front. There's a low in Michigan. There's a warm front that looks like it's running from about Buffalo to New York City. So there might be some snow showers or a period of snow north of that line in upstate New York and from Connecticut north and east. Maybe it winds up being a little bit further south. I don't know. And then we get a frontal passage Another big high settles in north of Lake Superior. Now, this is where the forecast gets tricky for later next week because how is that high going to be there? Is it going to be as strong as it's being advertised? And then we've got little ripples of energy coming in from the Pacific that may try to rumble along it. Uh, one such ripple toward the middle part of the week, and then maybe something a little stronger for next weekend. The models have been kind of vacillating back and forth. The European was pretty aggressive today for President's Day weekend. Uh, the GFS was aggressive last night, kind of backed off a bit today. So we're in that period where the models don't seem to know what energy to key on. So we'll see what the European did if the 18Z is out, and it is. Uh, and then I'll switch back to the 0Z so everybody can see what I'm talking about. So here's your system for Saturday coming on through. Joe, I think the European kind of implies, looking at the way the precip is structured, that there'll be a period of snow and then maybe a snow squall when the Arctic front actually goes by.
Right, right.
And so I think that makes sense. And then that goes out, and of course, same. And then the way the European plays it out next week is that it's got the same diver for Monday on a warm front, but the warm front is I mean, I can't even find it to tell you the truth. Uh, and it just kind of, starts to moderate temperature wise Tuesday into Wednesday. The European doesn't really show that big high to the north the way the GFS does. And on the earlier runs, it does eventually get higher pressures to build across from Dakotas to southeastern Canada, and it takes some of that Pacific energy, and it makes for a nice little storm for President's Day weekend. Again, it's way too out. It's way too out to even speculate on this.
I
So we're just
posted the Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day outlook today, which shows basically much of the country, including our area, in a above normal probability for milder than normal temperatures. I posted that, and you have no idea how many people on the comments section said, no, no, that can't be, or whatever. And one guy wrote, he says, yeah, and make sure tonight on Joe and Joe you tell everybody about the snowstorm coming on February 15th. And I came back and I said, yeah, I know. He said, just like the big storm that we were supposed to have this weekend, right?
right.
Which basically says, ladies and gentlemen, Joe just mentioned it. I mean, we're talking about an event that may be 11 days in advance, and already people are taking it as the gospel truth that we're going to have a major storm here in the Northeast on February 15th. Well, good luck. You might. But then again, as we just saw this past weekend, your dreams may be shattered. We'll see.
Yeah. Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board. Welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. And we hope that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. We occasionally add extra shows when storms are about on a Friday or a Saturday. So if you subscribe and turn your notifications on, you won't miss us when we do our regular show and if we were to do an extra show. Also, if you like the show, hit the like button because we very much love it when we get to 100 likes. And you have Briller Jeopardy tonight.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And tonight we will continue with average snowfall in the month of February. And of course, we have the 5 cities plus a bonus city for you. And we will begin with our first city of the night, and that is Kansas City, Joe. Average snowfall in the month of February in Kansas City.
Kansas City. I'm going to say 8.
8 is a good guess, but it's a little bit on the high side.
Okay. Brian Genova said 7.
We already have 2 winners. We have John Sachs, 77, and Steve Lapointe, which both have come in with the correct number, 6. 6 inches. 6, yes. 6. So let's move on to Memphis, Tennessee.
For February?
For February, yes.
It's either 1 or 2. I'll say 2.
Should have stuck with 1, Joe.
Last night I was making the right guesses, uh, but I see a few people have thrown up the number one. So yes, it
Yes,
is
after I said that you were wrong with the two.
right.
Anyway, Rich Rothmansky, yes, um, and Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, and who else? Those are the only two I can find so far. Oh, yeah, Rich Rothmansky with one. Let's move on to Minneapolis. Minneapolis in February. Snowfall.
I think they're deep in the cold
Not,
air.
not. I should say that's we're talking about snow in Minneapolis, not ice.
Right.
Yes.
I think Minneapolis in February is usually so deep in the cold air, and Peter Bicker, I already showed the European with the snowstorm for Sunday, for next Sunday, a week from Sunday. So you got to tune in the show on time, or either that or make sure you're paying attention when it happened. But we already did that.
And
Um,
Peter Bicker probably is among those who take uh, forecasts 11 days in advance as a fact.
no, he
So,
doesn't actually. He thinks that the models are, he always says that even when the models do well, that the models do terrible. And I've been trying to bang it into his head the fact that who cares if the models are terrible? The point is that the forecasters have to figure it out and get it right. So
right.
what the models do is not relevant. What's relevant is what the forecaster does with those
And
models.
I just realized we have two TV stations here in the New York area that do 10-day forecasts. So I'll be interested to see tomorrow night if both of
If it
those
goes
or
to
one
that
of those
weekend.
stations goes for a potential biggie.
Well, I
Uh,
mean that's a model
10-day TV.
generated product, Joe. So if a model, whatever model that they're using, if it shows it, they'll put it up. It'll be up there.
All right.
If the models don't show it, it won't be up there.
Okay.
Okay, so Minneapolis, I don't think
Yes.
it's a number that's lower than the other months. I'm just trying to decide if I should go under 10 or over 10. Okay, so I'll say 10.
So you did it again. You came very close, just a tad too high.
Okay, so the
But,
nines of
but we,
Mansky and Bonsai got 9 on there.
Steve Lapointe got 9, and yeah, yeah. Ruben Weather, 2026. Oh my goodness. I think I may have a heart attack. He actually got it right too. 9 inches. All right. So let's go to Music City, Nashville.
Uh,
Remembering of course that Memphis nearby was 1. What would Nashville be?
I'm gonna say 3.
Eh.
Yeah, actually, Memphis, I think for the whole season has an average of 4. I don't know why I said 3. I should have went lower.
Yeah, but we're
Uh,
going for Nashville.
I'm sorry, Nashville. I said Nashville has I think the yearly average for Nashville for whatever reason is only 4, and I would have thought it would have been a little higher than that. But I already got it wrong. So, Miss
Michael McGuire, Adam Lowe, and PL 9682, Weather Doctor, Frank R. Magnolia. Did anybody get this wrong except for Joe? Everybody got 2, and if you have 2, you were
no,
right.
there's a few other people there that got it wrong.
I'll give you a bell ring,
All right.
all of you people
So
with the
before we
2.
go to before you go to the next one, so Mr. Bicker was referring to the overnight 0-Z run of the European that had a low going to the lakes and producing, little snow and a change over to rain. Okay, well, that's about as valueless as the 12-Z run that has a snowstorm. Uh, You know, what can I tell you? Uh, anyway,
You
uh,
can't.
I can't. So
Yeah.
so there.
So
Um,
how about Central Park, Joe?
10.
And there you go. See, right there. Ding ding. Last one, which is our bonus city tonight. The bonus city is Fargo in the northern
Fargo.
part of
Oh
Dakota.
God.
Yes,
Hmm. Again, February, too deep into the cold air. What did we say for Minneapolis?
9.
9?
Yes.
So I'll say for Fargo, I'll say 10.
Well, you were a little too high for Fargo, but this bell ring is not for that. 100, Joe. We hit 100
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
So there you go.
So 10 is too low for Fargo.
No, 10 is too high.
Too high for Fargo.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So was eight? Well, I see some nines and eights on the board.
Yes. And Miss Spallerite is one of those who said 8. And Miss Spallerite gets the bell. There you go. Bobby Limingsworth also got 8. And a lot of people also saying 9 and 7 or whatever. And Tyler Finger saying 10? Really? 10 is too high? Yes. For the month of February at Fargo, yes, too high.
Too high. All right. The shows have been on the shortish side this week because we haven't had really much current weather to talk about. Not just in the Northeast. I mean, it's been dry, but even in places where it isn't dry, very few places are getting any kind of precipitation right now. We're sort of in that dead spot in the dead of winter, I guess. But we'll see if activity's probably going to pick up as we go forward. So let's save our energy for that, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. right here on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to it, you should subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you those many of you have liked the show, but if you haven't hit the like button yet, it's not too late. All
And
right.
just let me just very quickly because several people have been asking, and tomorrow actually is the day when the map will be updated. But as far as drought is concerned, believe it or not, yes, we have across the Hudson Valley, for example, abnormally dry conditions. In fact, moderate drought for Orange and portions of Rockland County, and also for Nassau and western sections of Suffolk County and a good part of the northern portion of New Jersey. Moderate to yes, in places like Sussex County, severe drought. So, Joe, we could use, I don't know, if any of the snow melt is going to help, but that's how it looks right now at the moment in our area.
All right. Okay, folks, we'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Good night.